While I think there is no evidence that we need to rush to a massive energy tax increase or a massive increase in government, there are many steps we could take that are reasonable and that are legitimate. I suggest 38 of them in my testimony. I'm just going to mention a couple quickly here. First, I think we should rebuild the American economy with American energy, both for jobs and for national security. I think it is very important that we have a pro-American energy bias in our system. Second, I do think that green coal and carbon sequestration is the most important single breakthrough we can make, because the objective fact is China is adding 1 coal-burning plant a week. There's no evidence they're going to slow down, and unless you get to an affordable green technology for coal, there is no possibility that American developments are going to affect the volume of carbon in the atmosphere, because the Chinese will more than offset any savings we have. Third, I think that enhanced oil recovery as a component of carbon sequestration could lead to up to 100 billion barrels of additional oil coming out of existing fields, which is a key answer to the peak oil question, which creates jobs in the U.S., keeps money in the U.S., helps our foreign exchange rate, solves an environmental challenge while also solving an economic challenge. Fourth, the U.S. should expand the use of biofuels, including ethanol. And I agree with 2 questions. One, on page 8, why would you exclude biomass from federal forest lands? I mean, I think that makes 0 sense in terms of the sound management of federal forest and in terms of biomass. And second, on page 110, why would you exclude energy from municipal waste? If we can get methane production from municipal waste, why isn't that a totally legitimate use of biofuel on a renewable basis? Number 5, you should add a section on nuclear energy. I thought the dialogue between the committee and Vice President Gore was fascinating. China has the largest nuclear building program in the world. Now, if the Vice President wants to come here and tell this committee he's encouraged by China, then he has to confront nuclear energy. The French produce 80% of their electricity from nuclear energy. If we match that, we would take 2,100,000,000 tons of carbon dioxide a year out of the atmosphere. The fact is that Vice President Gore mentioned one-off reactors. That's entirely a function of government policy. If we wanted to, we could follow the Japanese and Canadians, develop a clear model of a routine, repetitive nuclear reactor, build a huge number of them. If you want to lower the cost of building nuclear power plants, streamline the permit system and streamline the litigation system, bring American production down to the rate of Japan or France. It takes 5 years to build a nuclear power plant in Japan. It takes 15 to 20 if you can get past the litigation in the United States. And finally, any notion that civilian development of nuclear reactors by the United States has any impact on nuclear weapons worldwide, I think requires you to ignore that North Korea and Iran are doing quite fine on their own, and they don't seem to have any need for an American nuclear program to develop their nuclear weapons. Sixth, I want to just close by recommending something that, not just to this committee, but to the whole Congress. And this may be bolder than anything that's in the current bill. We are on the edge of a huge opportunity in science. There's going to be 4 to 7 times as much new science in the next 25 years, 65% of it coming outside the United States. We have more scientists alive than all of previous human history. They are every year getting better computers and better instruments. They're connected by email and by zip code, by email and by cell phone. Today, they are then connected to licensing and venture capital and royalties, so they can move from the laboratory to the market more rapidly than ever. We recently had an Alzheimer's study group report that you know fully well about, Chairman Markey, where we proposed a very bold fundamental change in the Budget Act to go from an accountant-designed science budget to ask the scientific community the optimum they could invest. There is no zone other than health where it would be more appropriate than in the field of energy and the environment to fundamentally reshape how we invest in science and to set as a goal very radical, dramatic breakthroughs to get affordable, reproducible, and scalable breakthroughs in energy, which I think are possible. I do think that part of this bill is moving in the right direction. I would love to find a way to design a very bold breakout, whether it's hydrogen, new materials technologies, or a variety of other things. I think they could be there, but I would just close by urging you, don't mandate beyond the technology. When we passed the act in 1990, we actually knew the technology existed. for sulfuric acid to be dealt with. We didn't, and we did it for a very limited number of sites. This is a fundamentally different question, and it threatens the entire American economy. But I appreciate very much the chance to be here.
Okay, gentleman's time has expired. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Washington State, Mr. Inslee.
Thank you. I must say this has been surprising testimony because I think many people will ask what happened to the old Newt Gingrich. We expected an optimist, someone who believes in the creative power of the American economy, but we've had a sudden attack of pessimism that we can't solve this problem.